This week's episode is brought to you by the home and auto insurance brand Canadians trust most, Intact Insurance. Listen, if you're coming into the show mid-laugh, we're having a chuckle because when I sign in, it's Jann Arden, by the way. This is the Jann Arden podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm here with Sarah Burke. Caitlin Green is also with us today, and she's feisty today. As soon as Caitlin came on, I'm like, there is some feisty shit going on. But they were laughing because when I sign into Riverside, which is where we record, I hit 2 M's instead of 2 N's. So my name is Jam, which is my summer name. Okay, I'm going with Jam for
Jam
the summer. Mm-hmm.
I like that. It's
so
like
Ray,
it's your hot girl summer moniker.
Hot girl summer. I'm still not over the rat boy or weasel man or whatever we were talking about last week about guys that aren't classically considered handsome. I'll put my do not disturb sign on, that aren't classically handsome, but if they're unusual looking or unique looking, they are considered super hot for the summer. Like, what was it? Rat man, weasel guy.
I think it was hot rodent boyfriend summer.
Rodent. I had it in the ballpark.
And it's because I'll keep forgetting his name, but he was in the movie Challengers, and he played a young Prince Charles in The Crown, and Jeremy Allen White, and to some extent Timothy Chalamet, who when people do side by sides with various rodents, be they an adorable mouse, a rat, whatever, they decided that there was some similarities, I'll say.
I find that so sad. We're not going to stay there. We're not going to dwell there. Right out of the gate, I want to tell Caitlin in particular that I signed up for Hulu.
Okay.
Or whatever you sent me. What did you
send
me?
Me?
Hey You. Sorry.
Okay.
I want to say I'm very sorry to Hey You, but you can understand my confusion. Mm-hmm. Hey You and Hulu. So Caitlin has provided for me a 3-month free something or other on Hey You. So I had a code that she sent me. Is this from the Hey You people? Are they trying to?
I told them that I wanted to convert you. And so they thought, you know what? Let's give her a little taster and see if she's into it.
So damn funny. So I'm signed up and I watched Below Deck Mediterranean. I watched 2 episodes of that.
Okay.
I know I don't really know what's going on because I'm joining it midstream, but I'm going to hang in there so that you and I can have some kind of a discussion at some point about people being slutty. And
we'll get right into it.
People being drunk, and just from my first couple of episodes, what morons the guests on the ships are.
Yes.
Or on the yachts.
Yes.
These are horrible, privileged, entitled people.
Very often.
And I can't stand watching them. And I hope that I'm never that person. Like, I hope if I ever get a chance to go on a yacht, which I haven't so far, that I don't turn into one of those people.
It's your hot girl summer. It's coming.
You get some really solid guests sometimes, and then you say to yourself, oh my God, thank God we're getting a normal guest. Or like a nice family comes on. I mean, that's rare. The producers probably hand select people that will deliver the drama and make everyone at home watch and go, oh my God, I can't stand these people. And there are return charter guests too, because they know they'll continue like a bit of a storyline, whether somebody gets too boozy, someone goes swimming at night when they're not supposed to, even if the captain says don't do it. Yeah. So it's like, it's a classic, like upstairs, downstairs kind of drama between, you know, the working class that mans these charter yachts and then the very wealthy people who charter them. The thing I find so funny, and I thought this from the moment I started watching the show, is that the master cabin never quite felt like a true master cabin to me on this yacht. Like, I was like, this can't be the only good room. And then the other rooms all have like single beds and stuff. They actually take over, the production crew take over the real master cabin, and that's their home base. That's their control room where they can see everything going on the ship.
And they need the space.
Yeah. But I just thought to myself, it's so funny that on these like charter yachts, they're missing out on the best room possible because it's jammed full of like probably 20 sweaty, miserable producers who've been awake for 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Who would actually sign up and go, yeah, I want to be filmed for the week holiday that we have. So I'm wondering if there's a price
Oh, there's a
break.
discount. There's a discount. Yeah.
So it's like people want to go on this yacht. They're like, okay, you're going to be on reality TV. And
Mhm.
in this climate in the world right now, I would imagine that 99% of the people signing up would be like, we're in, we want to be on TV. This is great. And plus we'll get $40,000 off the regular $100,000 price tag.
Yeah.
Anyway, the most impressive thing for me is, and I'm such a foodie, is the food is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And the drinks look so good. And it does look like a life that not very many people will ever experience. Anyway, hey, you, thank you for my 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hang in there. It is the Mediterranean Downton Abbey
It is.
2024.
It
And
is.
I'm so overwhelmed by opening up the app because there's so much programming.
Yeah.
There's the Real Housewives series. I can't believe how many franchises there is of the Real Housewives of everywhere. We need one Real Housewives of Calgary. I think
Oh my
there's got to be some assholes here that can sign up for that.
There was one. There was an iconic 2-season run in Vancouver. Toronto, we had a kick at the can as well. Did not pan out. I think Vancouver was like more part of the Housewives canon, sort of historically now. Like Toronto really was just a blip on the radar. But I do think you could recast it. Like we're missing some Canadian housewife representation. But there's everything under the sun on Hey You. Like I mean,
Could we
if
do
you just
Real Housewives Thunder Bay?
I would love it. I would love nothing more. I mean, I could build out so many franchises in my dreams of what to do, but like it is just, it's great summer viewing. This is perfect summer viewing for you, Jan, because it's light, it doesn't matter. And for Below Deck, it's very travel oriented. You get to,
Yeah.
see Greece or Italy or wherever they are. The one that I think you also would really like is Sailing Yacht because there's actually quite a bit of drama around the boat itself because sailing is so much more complicated and difficult and the boat will like completely tilt. I mean, talk about how hard it is to cook on a super yacht. Imagine cooking on one of these sailing yachts. Partway through your meal prep, all the dishes fly off the shelf because they've decided that they're just all going to take a hard right. And
Well,
like
I'm not,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
I'm not there yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So I think, hey, you should sponsor us because I'm trying
They should.
and I'm giving up precious archaeological dig time. So anyway, moving on. I just wanted to ask you guys a few things. I mean, we're in the middle of summer, but I was curious. I don't know a lot about you guys growing up with summer camps. And like if you're my dad drove us to Woods Lake, which is in BC. It's about a 7-hour drive every summer. That's where we went for a week and we begged to have him stop at the roadside attractions. There was like this fantasy thing and there was a Fred Flintstone park. There was Miniature Land. Miniature Land.
Oh my gosh.
He never took us. Like he had a bottle of beer between his legs. We were being hotboxed. He had a cigarette going. Daryl, crack the window. Those kids are going to all end up with cancer. And,
It's just
here's
hell on
us
wheels.
flying. It was. And there was when you did air in those cars back in the day, like it was cool and hot, but it wasn't cold air. It was
No.
hot air blowing in. So I was just wondering if you guys had ever been to a summer camp, and then I guess my part B is did your parents ever let you go to a roadside attraction? Because I want to do that still as a grown ass adult. I want to go stop at roadside attractions one year.
That's you taking care of your inner child, Jan.
Hmm.
I wasn't an overnight summer camp girl. It wasn't for me. I didn't like the rules that it sounded like they all had to live by because I felt like summer was a time to not have the rules that you do during the school year. So this whole notion that you were going to get in there and sleep in a big giant room that didn't have air conditioning with bunk beds and then someone rings a bell and you wake up at 7 a.m. and you have to jump in a lake and then rush to a mess hall. Like I was like, a mess hall? This is not for me. Like I'm not consuming food in a place called a mess hall. Like that's not happening. So I
Well,
said
okay.
no. So I said no to this. But I did do day camps. I tried my hand at those.
What is a day camp for those of us who
So you just go during the day and then you like, because your
do
parents
you
are working,
canoe and stuff? Like, are you outdoors? Or are you or downtown Toronto
you
making pottery?
could. Yeah, you could. It's like anything under the sun is possible. There was a really sweet little day camp that they ran on Toronto Island that I think was quite popular. I did like a 5-nighter as a part of my grade 6 program there, and it was really really cute and nice, and so I like that. No, but I went to day camp. The one that I remember the most vividly was Harbourfront Circus Camp. This is a Toronto sort of institution, and it was run down at Harbourfront near like the Queens Quay Center, and it was really fun. You got to specialize in
Sounds
whatever
great.
yeah, like you could learn to tightrope walk, you could use the German wheel, you could become a juggler, you could do it was very different and very fun. So I think I did that for a couple weeks. I did gymnastics camp. I didn't really like that. I did some like parks and rec camps, but no, I didn't like it. I didn't really like camps. Like I wanted to
What
hang
did
out with
you
my
want to
friends.
do for the summer? Like you said, you wanted to hang out with your friends. So like bike ride,
Yes.
just go to the 7-Eleven, have a Slurpee, go to
I wanted
somebody's
to
house,
exactly.
watch it. Uh,
5-cent candies. I want to walk along Queen Street. I want to go to like Canada's Wonderland. I want to go walk around the
oh, you did
island.
want to go to Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to go have some funnel cake, ride a roller coaster. Like I was like, these are the best days of our lives. I'm not spending them like it's, throwing a bean bag through a couple holes in like a park. This is not for me. Like I was like, we have a whole city to see. I wanted to walk around a mall. Like the notion that you could walk around the Eaton Center for a whole day unencumbered and just like try stuff on and stop for an orange Julius and a muffin, listen to a bunch of stuff at HMV.
Muffin.
Yeah, like that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did.
How about you, Sarah?
I was a product of the day camp circuit as well, in Richmond
Okay.
Hills, so just north of the city. And there were different like themed camps you could do. You could do sports camp. I went to a precious one called Creative Expressions, which was an arts camp. So you would do like a play at the end of the 2 weeks.
Oh,
That
that's
sounds
fun.
so fun.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and
Me
like
too.
I remember there was a fashion walk down an aisle at some point.
Oh my
I'm trying to
gosh.
remember.
What
Yeah,
do you
and
mean modeling?
yeah, there was
Ramp?
you know the song from the 90s, I like to move it, move it.
Yes,
Like
of
I
course.
remember walking
Yeah.
a catwalk to that song in like my Spice Mice shirt from Northern Getaway. So
Amazing.
yeah, it was fun. And then like they would do outings like, oh, today we're going to a farm. Today we're going to Pioneer Village. Today we're going
Mhm,
like once a week there was an outing. There were swim outings like to swimming pools, like the
mhm,
wave pool in Richmond Hill. And I was invited by my mother. Like she tried to make me go to sleepover camp,
mhm.
but I declined her invite because she had grown up. She went to sleepaway camp. And there's a lot of those like Jewish sleepover camps up north in like Halliburton
I was gonna say,
area.
which one did she go to?
Oh, I can't even remember. It might have been Winnebago.
Okay.
But I was afraid because my school like friends at public school were telling me how you all like shower together, and I was like, I have 3 hairs in my armpit, and if anyone finds out that I have those 3 hairs, I will have no friends.
Oh,
I was self-conscious.
didn't your mama get you like a little razor to nick them off? Like
I think she wasn't
puberty
even allowed.
shit.
It was the worst in the summer. She wasn't allowing me to shave yet at that point. It was a nair situation, which, oh my God, think about that now. That's terrible. Here's chemicals to burn it off. This will be better.
The smell of Nair, I can recall it now. It's still living in my nose. It's
Yeah,
just disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's why I didn't go to sleepover camp. And I do regret it. But you know what? I do think they're kind of culty. Like friends that I have that went to sleepover camp still to this
mhm.
day go have these reunions
I
at the
know.
camp. And I'm like, what? Like you're 37
Like
years old. Tell
like
me,
30 years later, they're going
yeah,
for a reunion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
like
well,
get
you
over
know
it.
what? But Sarah, come on, don't be so cynical.
Maybe I'm just
People
jealous.
want to go back in time and
Yeah.
enjoy themselves and maybe revisit their childhood. Getting back to the razor thing, my dad
Okay.
would like lose his shit. He had a razor that I would nick, like in his not nick myself, but I would
Mhm.
steal, and because he'd
Not
be
from
at
your
work,
mom.
and I'd go up. Our bathroom, the kids' bathroom, was downstairs. My parents' bathroom was upstairs, and I would go up and get. I don't recall my mom having a razor. Like
She
I don't
was
remember her
nairing.
having a special. Anyway, I grabbed him, but this was the kind of razor. So let's think back to the time. So this was the 70s when I started. Like I'm shaving my legs. I'm not going to have little hairy armpits. And I had really fair hair anyway. It wasn't that bad. But my dad's razor, you guys might not remember this. It would flip open the top and you'd get the actual fucking razor blade and set it in and then screw the
Oh.
top down. So you just had a one blade on each side that men used. Well, I remember taking a strip trigger warning here.
Oh my gosh.
I was doing my legs, and I remember taking this strip that was about 2 inches long, that was like an accordion rolled up inside of this razor. It was the first and last time I ever used a razor.
That's so painful.
Well, I had to like take it apart and get the strip of skin out because I thought if my dad ever sees this, I
You
mean,
were
it
more
wasn't that
afraid of
bad. When
that.
when you picture it, please don't
No, I
picture
know.
anything. It was like a little. I mean, I had a little. I did cut it a bit, but those, ladies and gentlemen, razor blades are really sharp.
PSA. Thank you.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved summer camp. The only time I went to an actual official one was in 5th grade. And I still have pictures from my little Kodak camera that my mom sent with me. And she said, now don't just take pictures of rocks. I remember her saying this to me. Make sure there's people in there. It's the people that you want to don't take pictures of buildings. Like I remember these instructions as I went out the door with my duffel bag, and it was at a little place called, I think it was Camp Yamaniska or something. And it was in southern Alberta here, about 40 minutes out of Calgary. I was so excited. I thought about that trip for years afterwards. I was in a bunk with 6 other girls, like there was 6 of us all together.
That sounds fun.
3 little bunk beds on each side, and I just remember us talking into the night and hearing the crickets and the noises outside, and it was our teachers. It was our actual like 3rd and 4th grade teachers that were the chaperones that had gone with us on this trip.
That's
And it was kind of educational. But I was so scared of water that I didn't do the canoeing and stuff like that. I couldn't get past that. I know. I keep thinking about my like 11-year-old self going, why wouldn't you get in a canoe? I mean, they had life jackets and everything.
And
But
I think about it. Did you ever have to do the thing where they would roll the canoe or roll the kayak, and they tried to get you to like learn how to roll it around? I was like, are you guys out of your minds?
I've seen that, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't get my head around doing anything like that. But I have seen them in controlled environments, whether that be in a swimming pool that's 5 feet deep and you've got people standing around you, is doing that roll.
Yes,
using the momentum of your body to upright yourself. If you're doing,
and I remember watching people get so thrilled when they did it after like inhaling a liter of water. I would be like on the side of the lake watching them being like, what? Like I am made of different stuff than you. I want to go see Electric Circus. I'm going to stand there and I'm going to go and record myself at Speaker's Corner. I want to go vintage shopping. I do not want to like cough up lake water and maybe get a beaver fever. Like,
I do wonder how it impacts later in life though. You were asking us if we camped, and like I did not. Until I was dating a guy that wanted to go camping in my adult life. I was so scared for the first time because we didn't do any of that stuff growing up.
Did you like it?
I did actually. I found it very peaceful, and just being in the middle of the woods. I still feel like I would have trouble pitching my own tent. I might need another go at learning that, but I did learn how to like make a fire and all that.
Well, if you look at Instagram, they just go snap and the whole freaking thing just flies out of a little bag, and you don't have the sticks or anything.
Yeah,
like
we joked.
They have some pretty clever tents now. I really do have to say.
We joked. We were like, this is our first home.
I love a cottage. I feel like I grew up at a lot of cottages, but I mean, I will always in life appreciate walls and a toilet. And that's
they call it glamping now. Glamping.
I know, and I've seen glamping too, but I feel that the price point on glamping shouldn't come close to that of a very nice hotel. Yeah. And so they've gotten that part wrong for me, because let's be honest, it's not giving room service. So there's a pricing issue on hotels. We discussed it in another episode where someone had wrote into us and said, what the hell's going on with the price of travel right now? How's anyone able to afford it? And it is very carried away. And glamping, I'm pointing my nail at you because it's way too much money to go glamping.
WestJet has screwed up a lot of holiday stuff. It's so unfortunate, just all that, striking people wanting to be paid fairly and all that stuff. I get it, but there's got to be a different way when you're going into the summer. They know it's peak period. They know they're really going to disrupt, 150,000 travelers. I don't know if I'm all into that. I don't agree with that kind of thing. There's got to be a different way than people walking off the job. Yeah. And anyway, we won't talk about that because it sucks. I had friends that were scrambling to get to Mexico. Yeah, a friend of mine that I work with in my office. And they drove to Seattle and caught a whole new flight from there had to pay for tickets again so that they could get down there to get their holiday.
Wow.
Anywho's, we've talked about so many interesting things, and now I'm going to ask you this: summer romances. I hearken back to Grease and Sandy and what's his name, John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, falling in. Oh.
I'll keep my day job.
I hope that hurt you as much as it hurt me.
I want the listeners to know that I didn't partake in that.
I have had a summer romance. And
Ooh.
the thing that is, when I went into it, this was probably in my 20s, I knew this is good enough for now for the summer because I ain't doing this going into fall.
By the time we're back to school, I
So-
will not be near you.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not talking to you, but I really don't think there's another time to get away with that kind of stuff. Like, you don't have a winter romance. You break up with people in the winter basically. But yeah, I would be like in Lake Flynn, like in June, and then come the end of August, bing bong, bye-bye.
Bing
Like,
bong.
I'm a terrible person.
Bing bong. See you later. That's Jan's breakup noise. Oh?
Bing bong. Well, it's kind of like the turkey dump too. A lot of people who let's say they get into. I had a situation where after
The
high
turkey
school,
dump.
Mhm.
yeah, after high school, going into university that summer, I had like this romance, and then I broke up with him by Thanksgiving. That's what happens.
Yeah, because you've already been like seeing all the like hot new guys
Yeah.
at school, and you're like, well, let's be honest, we're not getting married.
Yeah.
And so really, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But summer stuff is so fun. It's just like, it's so easy. And especially as a teenager, it's just like, it's not the person that you're going to have any kind of, sometimes you're like, I don't have anything in common with this
Mm-hmm.
guy or this girl. I have nothing. And you just do it anyway, because summertime lends itself to just making out, kissing somebody until literally your jaw might lock off and you have pash rash. Like you have
Tell us about that, Jan.
Pash
What's
rash.
pash rash?
You literally have a red ring around your mouth from kissing somebody.
She was kissing lumberjacks. This is why.
But like as in passion rash?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! It took me a second. I was like, wait, is this like an actual? Like, is this Latin? Is this a
I heard
medical
patch.
condition?
I was
No,
like,
I heard pash.
Beard pash.
Pash rash. Oh my
Pash rash.
gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had pash rash.
I remember this guy, his
before.
name was Jeff. And I don't know if his dad or his older brother, but somebody worked at A&W. You're welcome, A&W. And he gave me an A&W root bear. Like back in the day, you used to
The
be able
bear?
to buy the little bears.
Yeah.
I don't know if A&W is still selling their bears,
Mhm.
but I have a picture. Oh my God, I think his name was Doug. I'm so sorry. It wasn't
Jeff
Jeff.
or
It was
Doug.
Doug. It doesn't even matter.
It's fine.
But I remember him. We were making out in this tree fort that everyone had built. There was this huge fort, and there was me and Doug and my friend Michelle and her boyfriend, and I remember it was like late, like 9-10 o'clock at night. I was 15 years old, and I knew I was already going to be in trouble. But he said to me, "Can we tell those guys we did lots more than kissing?" And I'm like, Doug. I just said
Lots more.
yeah.
He didn't even specify. He wasn't like, let's
No.
keep it specific.
No.
He just said lots more.
And this is with my A&W root bear under my arm. And he's like, "Let's tell those guys we did lots more." And I remember saying to him, "No, I'm not saying that.
Standing up for
I'm
yourself.
not saying that, Doug. I'm just not. I'm not going to say like he went up on me or he went down on me. Well, I don't mean down on me,
Oh.
or whatever that means."
Wait,
I
and were
know.
you guys like, you're in a tree fort. Wait a minute. Can you see each other?
No, there was kind of like these different rooms. The tree fort was huge. It
Jeez.
spanned like 10 tree tops, and it had ladders, and we had like trap doors, and
in the world?
kids had built on this thing for years.
That
Okay.
sounds so cool.
And
It
up until
does.
about 25 years ago, I remember going for a walk with my mom down this old road before the city basically took over where my parents used to live. And Mom and I walked by these planks of wood and an old ladder that was still there. It was the remnants of the fort. And I was so nostalgic. I was so
Aw.
emotional seeing this frame, like it had either fallen apart or been dismantled. And I said to Mom, "Do you remember us coming here?" And I did. I told her that. I said, "We used to come down here and like kiss."
That was
for
Fort
hours."
Pash
I
Rash.
knew
That
you
was
were
Fort
up to
Pash Rash.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
But she
summer
was sweet
romance.
about it. She was just like, but I do remember those summers, and
Yeah.
I just remember making out, and it was innocent. And it's not like, and Doug, if you're out there, or Jeff, whatever your name was, I'm pretty sure it was Doug. I think that the root beer gives it away. He'll know who he is. But just that it was so simple. Like he never was any more than that. It was just what it was. It was so fun, just making
love
out
that.
and then holding hands, walking down the street. Like it really was very charming and very, I want to say, wholesome. Is that
Mm.
it? Because it wasn't.
You were working on your night moves, so that's
I was.
fine.
But I just remember being in
I
so
want to
much
hear
shit when I got
everyone's
home.
summer romance. Caitlin, what was yours?
I don't know that I had a specific summer like one. I mean, I had one summer boyfriend kind of, and then okay, fine. So I had one summer
Ugh.
boyfriend, but that was in university.
That's okay.
So
That still counts.
but like I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I had boyfriends in the summer, but other than this one, I can't really remember anyone specifically. And then he wanted to get back together awkwardly when we were like, he broke up with me, and I was very like, how dare you? And then he wanted to get back together, and I was like, no, it's now November. I'm not getting back together with you in November.
No,
It's
you
just not how
can't
things
get
work.
back together in November.
I'm about to go home for Christmas break. Like I might
Yeah.
get back together with my ex-boyfriend there. So leave me alone.
I love how your breakup line is, how dare you?
Yeah. I really did feel like that. Like it happened like the first week, but no, the week before we went back to school. And I was like, excuse me? Because you think you're going to find someone hotter than me during Frosh week? I don't think so.
Good luck. Yeah.
Talk to
Did
me in
you ever
November.
have like where I went to school? And Sarah, I want to hear about yours. But where I went to school in Springbank Community High School, and of course you have the
All
summer
40
off.
people.
Did you ever have like little romances in the summertime with people from school that you would no longer talk to at school? Like I just remember, I know I want to name names because I came from such a fucking small school, but this guy that I sort of hung out with for at least 6 weeks in the summer, like we were hanging out all the time. And when I got back to school, the day I got back to school, I didn't talk to him. I didn't even look at him. I didn't do anything. Like
You were like embarrassed?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like not necessarily of him because he was like not good. I just more mean like
Yeah, no, that's
like,
the word. That's
it's
the
like
word.
the light, like your relationship that existed in its own little fantasy land had now entered the real world, and it just you couldn't make it work. Yeah,
it's different when it's like tucked over there, and then it's like suddenly in front of people. I get that.
But what kind of a person was I? Like I shudder at the thought. I wish I could.
You were young.
Find him and tell him how sorry I am.
You just apologized on your podcast. You're fine.
That's more than most people get.
Yeah. Dairy Queen. Can I tell you guys? Dairy Queen. I liked every guy working at Dairy Queen, flipping the burgers. Of course I did. I was kind of boy crazy at this time of my life. But imagine being in charge of a Dairy Queen at, I'm going to say 14 or 15 years old. They gave me and another guy a key. Like, you are irresponsible, sir. I don't know why you put us in charge of your store.
Never in a million years would I give a 14-year-old a key to my business.
He'd be like, guys, I'm going out. I'll be back in a bit. Be good. And then, some little things would happen behind the counter or, it was so fun though. I remember that being a really fun summer.
Do I need to call the RCMP?
I'm like, did this guy have cameras set up on you? Like, I'm like going to a dark place right away.
No, but I do remember making out in the bathroom at that Dairy Queen, and I'm so sorry to the boss who gave me a key at that time.
How old were you?
It was like
you were
summer
14.
Summer between grade, I want to say like 9 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was like my first job where I had to go get like a debit card and a bank account and all the things. Like,
and
it was
do
kind
that.
of a big deal. And people going into Dairy Queen in the summer, like, I need a PSA moment for this. Please don't make out as you're in line while I'm taking your ice cream order. Like, I get your summer romance.
That was years ago. People don't do that anymore.
People still do that. Your summer romance is blooming, but the person on the other side taking your ice cream order doesn't want to see it. Okay, I'm done.
I don't like public displays of affection. Don't like
think
it.
Any of us do.
Don't like doing it, seeing it.
That's why I said I didn't like Taylor and Travis at her performance last week. And I was waiting for the Swifties to come for me, but it was very like,
mild.
It was like watching mom and dad kiss. I don't know why. I just felt like I didn't like seeing the two of them being all like romantic together. And so I'm with you, Jan. I'm not a huge PDA person.
Well, she does have, probably 30% of the crowd is under 12.
Yeah. Not like anything.
At a Taylor Swift concert.
And like
They
not
were
like anything
young.
bad was
They're with
happening,
their
but
moms.
yeah, it was just a bit. It's always a little cringy to me. And I also remember, do you guys remember the couple in high school? There was like every grade had one
I know
where they were like
exactly.
the couple.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they just
Patty and Kevin.
yeah, and they were always, and it was like, we get it, guys, you're having sex, and they were always like making out off
Do you know
in a
what I
corner
asked
at a
her? She
dance.
said they didn't have sex. She said we never had sex.
Really?
No, I
Okay.
just said, oh my God, you were like 15, 16. She goes, Jann, never, ever had sex. We didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for her. Back in,
But I mean,
back in my day, they all were, and we all knew
always
it.
all over her.
Yeah, they were just like, they became like socially like strange because then at parties they were always just with each other. And I always just felt like, what's gonna happen when you graduate? Everyone else is gonna be off in school talking about how they like went to all these great parties and had all these great friends. And you're like, well, I was part of the couple for my grade. So all we did was make out by a locker.
And I was
locker
jealous.
makeouts.
And I was
Yeah.
jealous.
I hated the locker makeouts. Oh,
But I was like, why can't I be like that? Like there was a part of me
too. I understood that feeling. And then one time against the locker, it was my boyfriend she was making out with at one point. And I was like, I love my friend Daryl now, but back then it was real hard.
Wait,
Daryl.
you were dating someone and your friend made out with him?
right after we broke up, like 2 days later. And I was
Oh.
like, come on, give me a day.
Sarah, if we were friends back then, I would have written something mean on her locker for
Yes,
you.
you
Just
would've.
saying.
Thank you. And I have enough. There's like a little group of girls who definitely listen to this podcast from that group of friends. And yes, they're going to laugh at that because they will remember vividly what happened at that locker.
That's so funny.
there was locker makeouts. You
Yeah.
magnify that by about 4,000 in a small school.
No
When there's
kidding.
when there's very few
Yeah.
kids, you cannot hide amongst the throngs of 100, 200, 300 students. This is literally in my grade 42 kids that I went to school with from the time I was like in the third grade. It was the same people. So when people got hooked up, sometimes it was
Everyone
so
knew.
shocking that it was just like beyond. And then there were some people that were literally together from the sixth grade all the way to graduation. And then what happened after everyone graduated is anybody's guess, but I think there was a lot of very disillusioned people when they graduated, like, this is real life now. Now what do we do? Anyway, I want to move on completely, change the topic. And it was something that you talked to me about, Caitlin. And it was a bumblebee that Will saw.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that because there's a lot of grace in this story. And it's pretty cool that Will is not even two. And anyways, you tell the story. It's so sweet.
So I got Will one of these water tables for our balcony. And I had two friends over. Will's hanging out with us. We're on the balcony and he's showing him his water table. And I look over and there's this little part of it that sort of spins back and forth and dumps the water back and forth. And a bee had like a fuzzy, not a wasp, but a very fuzzy pollinating cute bumblebee was there, and it was stuck in a shallow pool of water. And I thought, oh no, this bumblebee drowned in his water table. I feel terrible. So I dump the water out of the little pool and I go inside to get a paper towel thinking maybe I can like help or at least remove it. And my friend screams, oh my God, it's moving. He's like, it's alive. And he's like, quick, get me a knife. And like, there's a lot of commotion now. Now we're all in like rescue the bee mode. And so Will is like all excited, like watching this happen. And he's like, the bee. And so I got a knife and my friend very gently pushes the bee onto the paper towel. We watch it move its little butt around. Its wings are clearly still jammed. So we're like, okay, we move it over to a flower that I have in like a planter. And I run inside and decide that I'm going to get it honey because I think it's weak. And I've never once Googled this, but in my mind, bees eat honey. And my friend's screaming at me being like, they make honey. They don't eat it. Like, you idiot. And I was like, no, they do. And I learned I'm right. They do eat it.
That's their fucking food. That's
what I
why,
said.
That's why vegans don't eat honey because you're stealing their fucking food.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Lessons learned. And I knew I was right. So I went and I got it some organic honey and I did little boops of honey all over the flower that we had put it on. And I was like, he's eating it. And we were like, he's alive. And Will is just like, the bee in the water, bee fly. And like, bee can't, like, he's just trying to piece together everything that's happening. And then for the next few days, he would just be telling me about the bee. He also had a squirrel steal a cookie from him specifically, but it was out of his cookie container in his stroller because the
while he was in the stroller.
No, we were over playing.
Oh, I was
And
going to say that would be a bit daunting to have a squirrel like steal a cookie out of your hand.
Oh, I mean, they would. The squirrels in these Toronto playgrounds, like they know what they're doing and they are bold. And so they knew that this was an unmanned stroller that usually has some form of snack in it, which is accurate. And
Mhm.
so I saw the squirrel and I was like, oh, look, a squirrel's on your stroller. And then the squirrel went right to his compartment where he has his cookies. And Will was like, the cookie. And it took his cookie and then ran up a tree. And so between the bee and the stroller taking his cookie, there's a lot of stuff that's being discussed right now. But we did save a bumblebee. I feel really good about it.
The context of the beauty of the story is how Jan's love of animals, insects, beings has impacted others.
Yeah, well, I thought
No,
of Jan
but I
right
just-
away. I was like, Jan's gonna love this story.
Yeah.
Like, Jan's
But
gonna love this story.
I think when you can take the time to help something small, like I always scoop moths off of, I have a water barrel here, like a rain
Mhm.
barrel, and I'm forever scooping something off of there that's
Mhm.
moving its wings. I don't know how anybody could walk by that and not do something.
Mhm.
And there's something about size. You think about how small we are in this universe.
Oh, I know.
So it's I will kill a fucking mosquito though. I'm sorry. I will kill them all. There's one. God damn you.
There's one on you right now.
I was going to say, what are you swatting away?
Well, I left the door open a little bit for Poppy. I have mosquitoes are terrible right now, but I don't know how anyone could walk by something in peril, a bee in particular,
Oh, a
and they get
bee.
really tired. So nailed to the side of my house. And Caitlin, you haven't been here, but when Sarah was here, I don't know if one of your friends commented on what are those things nailed to your house, and I said,
For
oh,
the
those
birds.
they're bee resters.
Oh, okay.
So they're little houses with
Oh.
tubes, like 100 little wooden tubes that they can go in where it's dark and cool and they can rest. And I've also now, because we're coming into some hot weather, I have little dishes, like old teacup dishes filled with shallow water
Mhm.
for bees
Mhm.
that they can sit in and get a
They're
little
so
drink
cute.
of water and
Cute.
leave on. Well, you see stuff like this on Instagram all the time. I'm just saying, if you have a yard and you're going to see a lot of tired bees in
Mhm.
really big heat. Set a tray of water on your deck. Like if you live in the city,
Yeah.
put it on a chair or a table. Birds will use it, but bees will definitely use it if you have it somewhere. That's just
And
a little.
mosquitoes will also be attracted to said
No,
standing water.
you
Just
won't.
saying.
You won't see a mosquito in a tray of water. I'm seriously. Don't tell them that, Sarah.
Sarah was like, well, I don't know about that.
Well, I wanted to tell you too. I feel like my dad felt shamed. We discussed how there was a mouse at the cottage like last season, and how we were scared, and he had used a sticky trap. And then I was like, Jan was mad at you for using that sticky trap. That's not humane. So this time, because we have some things running around in the house, and perhaps building a little furniture area in the walls, like we're not really sure if it's a chipmunk or not, but Dad is being humane about everything, and he's like, "Tell Jan, would ya? I don't want a bad rap."
Well, if that makes a difference, but glue
Yeah.
traps, you're an
Terrible.
asshole if you're using a glue trap.
Yeah,
Like,
the
if-
ones that you can
should know
like trap
better.
them, and then you can
are
remove
you
it
coming
and put them
from?
back outside.
Yes. Well, I don't. The mouses live here with me. The mice.
Yeah.
We have an agreement. I see them in here once in a while. Not very often. I've been here 16, 17 years. And I remember there's been a few times where I've been sitting on the TV and I'll see them running for the staircase to go downstairs because they've taken something out of the pantry. And I'm like, we're going to just decide to live together. And they're small. They're not dirty. They're not going to kill me. I don't have a million of them, but I have really no problems. But I'm in the country. Both my doors are open right now at my patio. So something's going to sneak in here. I told you about the bird I had in here, right?
Yeah.
That
And
bird that landed on my head
you
to
had
help
these-
him. Oh,
you had these things on your windows for the birds to
The
know it's a
dots.
window.
Yeah.
I've still got them. They have been an absolute lifesaver for me.
They
I
put
forget
those on a
what the
lot of
company's-
condos now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I-
fun.
How does Poppy do when he sees something running around like a
He goes ballistic.
mouse?
He'll never catch them. He's never seen a mouse. I've never seen a mouse on the deck. Like I said, twice in 17 years, I've seen a mouse in here. And I'll see little turds once in a while. And I'm like, okay, they're in the basement. La-di-da. I've had guests stay here and they're like, there's a mouse. I saw it. I'm like, go to bed. What do you think? It's going to crawl in with you? Yes. It's going to be in my bed with me.
Okay, but to be fair, we lost. So when my family and I went on vacation one summer to PEI, we had gerbils, and we incorrectly
shit.
thought that the
I think I know where
gerbils.
this is going.
we thought the gerbils were of the same sex. They were not. And then they proceeded to procreate endlessly. And we would give all the gerbils to a pet store and whatever. While we're away, the mom gerbil gives birth to yet another litter. And we have like a local kid coming in to like feed them and give them water and all this stuff. And at one point, they escape. They chewed through the plastic at the top of one of the little like gerbil things that they lived in. And they escape and they get all through the house. And it's like a whole litter of them.
Oh my
And
God.
they're in the vents. We have to go around when we get back collecting all of the gerbils. And I think one lost half a tail. Like it was a whole thing. And then and one was missing finally at the end. And so he just, bless his heart. I don't know. I thought he was dead. And then we have my family come stay at our house because my uncle's getting married in the city. And my aunt and uncle sleep in the guest bedroom that's in the basement. And thankfully these are my two biggest animal loving aunt and uncle. They're vets. And so we're all upstairs having breakfast and we just hear my aunt scream at the top of her lungs. It's because the gerbil had ran across her hair because her bed,
that's scream worthy.
Her bed was in between clearly where it had been living and a giant bag of birdseed that we'd had downstairs. And that's what it was living off of, was this big giant bag of birdseed. So, I mean, like,
Smart.
Pretty impressive little gerbil.
In the Celine doc, did you guys notice the moment for the skinny
topic
pigs?
change?
No, the skinny pigs in her doc. And my mom noticed because
what?
my
The
sister...
skinny pigs? What do you mean?
It's like a bigger gerbil, but she was feeding this little thing at one point. Do you remember with the little thing? No?
The guinea pigs.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were skinny pigs.
Skinny pigs.
Is that a thing?
Yes, my sister had one growing up.
What the hell is a skinny pig?
Here, let me look for it.
I know of guinea pigs.
What is happening on this
I know
podcast?
I don't know.
It is a guinea pig breed.
Okay. It's a subcategory of guinea pig.
A hairless guinea pig.
Okay, that's disgusting. Anyways.
It was in the Celine doc, just saying.
Celine's an animal lover, Jan. It's something you will come to appreciate when you find the time to watch the I Am Celine Dion documentary.
I did watch it, but what I cried about at the end was it was dedicated to the dog who died. The ending was dedicated
Bear.
to
I didn't notice that Bear passed.
It was dedicated to Bear.
It was already sad enough.
I know.
Oh, you didn't see that?
I didn't notice the dedication. I was up probably just crying and couldn't read.
Yeah, it was for Bear.
Oh, Bear.
How did you like the documentary?
Loved it. Number one movie on, they're calling it a movie, which I guess it is a movie on Amazon. So it has just been a smash hit. It's resonated with people all over the world. And the nice thing is it's brought so much attention to a syndrome or a disease or a condition that has been so misunderstood and misdiagnosed for a long time. So good for you, Celine.
And she participated in the draft. The NHL draft.
I saw that.
So the whole time I'm like, I wonder if the medicine got better, right? Like, where does it pick up from the doc?
How do you participate in an NHL draft?
She helped announce the
Montreal
Habs,
Canadiens,
the Habs signing.
Oh, okay.
So that's a lot of stimulation based on what we saw in the doc. So I had questions, but
you know what? Miracles happen. Anything could happen, and medicine.
She was wearing nice heels, which I paid attention to. I was like, oh, she loves her heels.
Well, they make great strides every single day with this stuff. Briefly, we're at the 44-minute mark right now, but I do want to touch on the debate between Biden and Trump. I know.
Boy.
I'm going to hand it over to you, Caitlin, because I don't want to say their names. I'm disappointed in both of them. I know one is much better than the other as far as being ethical, moral, and a good human being, a good man, and it's certainly not Don. But go ahead, tell me what your thoughts are.
This is my debate that I have internally about lots to do with politics. When you have a party that's its own hubris about forcing a candidate down someone's throat, that the general population that is going to be leaning towards your ideology is not proudly for. Perhaps they're against the other candidate, but that they're not being galvanized behind who you've chosen. Can't you just switch it up? I mean, how hard is that? It's making me crazy to watch everyone. And to be fair, Trump did not get called out on a bunch of his lies during the debate. I mean, he just started saying stuff that was patently untrue. Maybe the moderators should have called him on more of that, fine. But just to not see Biden successfully call him out on the things that was wrong was really disturbing, because anybody at home with Google could have done some of that.
Yeah.
And so I think that became dismaying. And I just felt after seeing it like, okay, you've got a convention coming up. If you really want to fight Trump, you're probably not doing it with this guy. So as much as I know that you're voting for one person, yes, but you're also voting for their administration. So of course there could be people who are around Biden who are skilled, who are fabulous. Does he probably have good days and bad? Sure. But Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, like, we need age limits, not term limits. And I'm not saying this to be ageist. I don't think that the ages I'm citing are like unreasonable to say, do you want these people in 3 or 4 years from now to still be in power? Like, it's just bizarre to me. And it's so not reflective.
What it takes out of people too. Hey, Caitlin, like what
Exactly.
the stress, the pressure, the sleepless nights, the schedule must be absolutely grueling. So I couldn't keep up with that schedule. Never mind
No.
being 80 and being Joe or Donald, especially Donald eating hamburgers every day. Like I hope, I hope something happens. I hope there's some kind of really huge turn of events coming up.
Well, even like quietly while we were all, cheersing for Canada Day, the immunity ruling.
I know.
Like this is
a sitting
big,
president.
Side note.
What doing official while doing his official duties cannot be prosecuted for those things. So
how will that change January 6th? How will that change like his conviction with so many other things? Like
again, maybe we need age limits for presidents. We definitely need term limits for the Supreme Court. And there should be no set way in which you can be a leader in perpetuity, like in any way, like whether you're on the Supreme Court or whether you're in charge, whether you're Democrat or Republican or liberal, conservative, whatever. It's just not a great idea. And I've always been worried about the like kind of future of things, just seeing how everyone is politically now more than ever. And I did not feel good watching that debate. I really did not feel good.
The best of what there is to choose from. Like
I said that in a tweet. I said 300 million people in the United States, and these are the two guys that you're putting forward. I believe I called them knuckleheads. And there's so many skilled, smart, charismatic men and women in the United States that are well educated. They're socialized. They seem to have a true north. They have some decorum. They have a sense of responsibility to their communities. Like there's got to be better than what they're putting forward. But both parties are very determined to stay behind their man, and they're not bludging and they're not swaying. And you could blame Canada for that too. You look at Pierre Poilievre and Trudeau. Jagmeet Singh, that are just there's leaders that no one is really satisfied with. Like everyone says over and over and over again, we don't really have an alternative. We don't really have anyone to vote for. It's when you're dealing with the lesser of two evils, that's a very hard lesson in democracy, that you think you want to vote for the best person, but they're not voting for who's better. They're voting for who's not as shitty. That's two very different ways of looking at it.
And I think that it's a weakness within any party to just lean back on saying, hey, our core voters, aren't you just more afraid of what this person being in will look like? Yeah. It's not, again, it's like, it's not okay. And I think it is political laziness, but it's institutionalized. It's people who have been in power there for a really long time, and they're not letting go of it. And it is just not a great look. And it's creating a lot of apathy amongst younger voters, because you're looking at someone who is just so far beyond age-wise.
Did he seem like AI to you at the beginning? He was so like level and like no expression in his voice. I was like, there's no teleprompters in a debate. What is happening here? It was like
it's hard.
It's just not. I mean,
he's not well. He's just not well. It's not the way a normal person speaks. But man, the excuses and the way people seem to exonerate both of their behaviors. Like when you have a team of fools around you on both sides that are just propping you up and telling you did great. Anyway, it's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. It's a joke up here. We're not much better. And
Yeah, and I
we're
know
gonna
it's
move.
not our country, but like we're so connected to
Oh,
them intrinsically when it comes to the economy and to, you know, sort of world order and just everything. So it does make sense to follow it around these touch point periods of time. I can't stay engaged with this all the time because it really just really bums me out.
Case in point, hey you.
Case in point, hey you, here for me always. Same with
wow.
music, same with my fabulous
I'm
weekend at Pride. I'm going to choose to think
yes.
about that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but instead, nah, this is also happening.
No, I'm telling you, it is still a beautiful world. There are a lot of zany things going on, but you know, you can't be caught up in the mire and be slogging around in that muck all the time. I think
No.
don't feel guilty about having fun and enjoying your friendships and enjoying the nice weather and enjoying nice meals with friends. Don't get caught up in it, gang, of being there all the time. I'm really careful how I ingest the news here. I didn't watch the whole debate. I watched little clips, bits and pieces.
Mhm.
Someone was clever enough and hilarious enough to put the TikTok baby filter on a clip of the when they were talking about golfing. Well, you know, I'll carry my own clubs. When they did that little exchange, they had baby faces, that really clever AI filter. I was laughing so hard.
I could carry my clubs if I wanted to. I could take your clubs and carry them. Sure, let's do 18 holes. I'll
And anyway, if you it was up on my Instagram story for a while. I'm sure it's long gone, but you'll find it. Just put Biden and Trump babies out there and they will
Oh my
show up on
God.
your thing. We had some letters. We had some voice notes from people. Sarah, maybe you can tell us about a couple of those and play those as we say goodbye.
Here is a lovely voice note from a transgender man from Edmonton.
Hey, Jan. My name is Gil. I'm a transgender man from Edmonton. I appreciate so much your outspoken support for the LGBTQ community. I'm 68 years old, started my medical transition at age 62, so it's never too late to live your authentic life. I love your podcast. I've been listening for the past 3 years. I enjoy when you have guests as well. For example, the interview with Lisa Laflamme stands out for me. Which leads me to ask if you would ever be able to get Adrienne Arsenault on your show. I have such respect for these female anchors and journalists. Thanks to you three ladies for being so authentic, funny, and informative. You bring a smile to my face every week. Happy Pride!
Antonio thinks he left us a voicemail. Antonio, I'm really sorry to report your voicemail did not come through, but I love that you're calling it a voicemail to make Jan feel good about that.
Thank you, Antonio. You and I know the shit, man. We know it's going down.
But he does say, wondering if Jan would ever make her songs into a musical like Alanis, or if she's been asked
You
to
never
create
know.
music for a show or a concept album just because she has the storytelling ability, humor, and timing for comedy.
Thank you. I would never not consider that. You never know what could happen.
Okay. Sharon S says, I enjoy the conversations you three girls have, but Jan, please stop swearing and getting angry at people and calling them a-holes at every level. There's so many other words in the dictionary to use instead of the
fuck.
F-bomb.
I just
Thank you for your
don't know
fucking
what-
message, Sharon. We do love you.
You know what? Swearing is not bad. People that swear live longer. That's science. One of my fondest memories about my dad is his swearing and the combinations that he would put together. Like things
I
that you'd
wonder
never
if
think
there's
work
current
together.
research, swearing research.
Swearing people live
Let's
longer.
see.
You get
I
rid
think
of
they live
stress.
longer. I think I've read before that they are happier.
From
Yeah,
1 week
I'm
ago
happy.
in Forbes. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here are a few reasons why swearing can be beneficial according to research. Pain relief, one of the most
Bing bong.
notable benefits of
Bing bong.
swearing is the ability to reduce pain sensitivity or the perception of pain, emotional regulation, self-confidence, managing social rejection. Okay, there's just a few. There you go.
Sorry. We're on the right track, girls.
Yeah,
We're really fucking sorry.
You know what's funny though is that when I turn the microphone on, I find it really impossible to swear because of all my years in radio.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
that's
So
good.
my
We'll do it
problem.
for you.
I can't do it. It
No,
feels
you don't
like,
need to.
but in my real life, make no mistake, I can,
You
I
got
can
a potty
swear.
mouth and I like it.
Yeah, I can swear like a sailor in my regular life, but between
Oh.
having a son who now repeats everything I say and then
Mm.
That's
being
fair.
used to
That's
being
fair.
in radio, I don't really swear that often anymore. I'm not opposed to it. I love a good curse word.
Well,
Jen,
I
did you?
apologize because the last thing I want to do is offend anybody, but I always have, I swear, I like it. And it's done in good fun. It's not like I'm being malicious and there are people who are assholes. I got, yesterday I was temporarily, I'm not going to say banned, but I had something put on my Instagram page because I commented on a guy yesterday that had tied a dog to a train track to kill it. I mean, the dog was freed, right? But this asshole, so I called him that in the comments. I'm like, you are a fucking asshole or something. And I could kick your nuts or I don't know what I said. Anyways, I got cautioned and I wasn't allowed to comment on stories for like 24 hours.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
thinking, you're picking on the wrong person here. Man tying dog to train track. Why don't you fucking get rid of his ass?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Don't make me get my dad's razor.
It's very like judgy. I just don't like telling people sort of like what to say or do about like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it always feels. Sometimes that would happen
That
to
I
me.
was telling him what to do, like not
Oh,
tying
no,
his dog
no.
to the train
I'm
track.
saying telling you not to swear. Like I don't love
Oh,
it.
I see.
I don't love a finger wag overall because it comes from a place of it feels like inferred moral superiority, which I don't believe is accurate. So that's all I'll say about that.
Okay. Well,
Jen, were you going to
I
ask
feel
your
like I
question?
am morally superior much of the time. And I feel like my ethics, my code of conduct, my empathy, yes, I absolutely feel like I am head
I'd
and
like to
shoulders
read
above
that.
many, many, many people on this planet.
And you're like, so don't tell me.
But they're not our listeners, not our listeners. Them, we're all good. What are you saying?
Your last question. Did you want to end on your question?
Oh,
for
I
your-
do. Listen, so I'm doing this for the summer, and I want one thing from you guys that sparked your curiosity, gave you joy. Was one thing this week. Maybe it was the Bumblebee, Caitlin. I don't know, but Sarah, I'll start with you.
So
Last
I
week it was a
went.
golf game.
Well, it was also a golf game this week, but listen. So my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he's never called my phone ever. So he called me on Thursday night. I was already up at the cottage. I thought it was an emergency because I've never seen his phone number come up. I'm like, hello? Do you want to go golfing while we're at the cottage? I was like, yes, I would love to. Now, here's what's
Aw.
funny.
Oh,
I didn't have any collared shirts at the cottage,
Oh.
but I do always have my clubs in my trunk because I will make a way to golf if I can.
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, could you maybe like ask Joanna, my sister, to bring up, like a collared shirt for me? Does she not pull out of her suitcase a matching shirt to her husband with pineapples on it? I don't know if you know what
Obsessed.
pineapples there's some symbolism things with pineapples with like swingers and all sorts of things.
What?
So here I am at the golf course.
it's my
wearing
safe word, pineapple.
That's so funny. Also,
I'm sorry,
like,
what?
yes, upside down pineapples apparently is like a symbol of swinging. Although the root of the symbolism of a pineapple is hospitality. Just so we know, go look it up.
Okay.
Okay, and also cannabis enthusiasts like Pineapple Express. It all makes
Okay.
sense.
All right.
So did you wear the shirt? This is
I
what
wear the fucking shirt. And so at the golf course, we're rolling up to pay for our tea time. And the people behind us, they're like, ah. So that was my hilarity of the weekend. And it did make me laugh and it brought me a lot of joy.
Okay,
Wait,
good.
they're saying behind you like they thought you two were swingers?
And we were like, there's nothing we can do
Yes.
about this.
How is
Caitlin,
this
yes.
how is this like a out there in the cultural zeitgeist and I am not even aware of it?
I
You're
can't wait
married
till you
with a
look this
child
up.
now.
Text me
You're-
after you look it up.
You're using watertight diapers that hold poo in. Like you have moved on, Caitlin. You have moved on from
guess.
the pineapple.
But
So
hey,
what-
I went to a very fun pride party on Sunday. So I'll say that. That would be the highlight of my week.
Well, tell us something about it.
It was so great. It was beautiful, sunny, hot. I didn't realize though that it had become, I've been to this party before and I didn't realize that it has become this big moment for Pride that is so heavily trafficked that this year there was a doorman. So
Oh,
this year there was a guest list with a doorman and an open request sent out. If you have not cleared your guests with me ahead of time, do not bring them because like it's too many people. And it's true. It's a ton of people. It is a ton of people. A DJ came in from Miami. There was an alcohol sponsor this year. Shout out to, I think it was called Casa del Rey Tequila Soda. There was a lovely group of employees from the tequila soda company they were asking us brand questions when we would go up and like get a new can. So it was really,
dear
really fun.
people of the world, dear straight business people, there's a lot of money in the gay community. And I mean a shit ton. So you might want to rethink your prejudices and rethink your judgments, which a lot of corporations have done. But good for you, a party that brought you a lot of joy, seeing a lot of fun people.
There was a gay couple there celebrating their 30-year anniversary. It was so nice.
Well, that's 100 straight years.
I know. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's legitimately what I said.
Jan, what's your moment from the week?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many. Finishing my record, mixing that was absolutely joyful. Last week, when I spoke to you guys, I was in the studio in Toronto. Universal has a studio called 80A, which is 80 Atlantic, which is where Universal is. And it was great. It was just it always feels so good to finish something and move on. And I'm getting my hot tub fixed today because the breaker went yesterday. And it's no fun sitting in just a pool of water with no jets going. So there's a man in my yard right now. And he's going to
blow some bubbles with a big straw.
He's sitting beside me, just splashing water on my face.
Do not get on the ride.
His name's Jeff or Doug, or I don't know what his name is. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Everyone's
one of those Jeff Doug names.
My ride-on mower. I mowed the lawn. I didn't have to pee this time, so I mowed it when I got home, and it looks great. Love mowing the lawn. And
am I legally allowed to say that I've listened to your album?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I sent it. I sent it to these girls to. So it's 90s. It's 90s music.
I'm so excited. At first, it took me a minute to be like, am I seeing this correctly? Is this the theme here? And it very much was the theme here.
There's two songs that aren't. The Boxer and Boys of Summer. So Boys of Summer is 80s and the Simon and Garfunkel Boxer is the 70s.
Okay.
So I just had to put them on. I love the versions of them.
Boys of Summer is one of my favorite songs of all time.
So you've just given away, it's a 90s cover record.
Yeah.
Covers record. If anyone wasn't picking
it
up
is.
on that. And we're excited.
Yeah, it's great. I feel very grateful. And A&M Universal has been incredibly good to me over these years. I've been with them 32 years, and I believe this is my 16th studio record. So anyway, that's
last thing. I play baseball with a man that works at Universal, and he told the story of you interrupting the board meeting that was going on when you arrived. I just thought that was hilarious.
Oh, last week. Well,
she like waltzed into a board. There's like Excel spreadsheets on the wall, and I believe you said, "Oh, I'm in the wrong place." Or something like that.
I was gonna say I actually stopped myself. It was one of those moments where the the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. So I went in and I did know the guy that was one of the guys sitting there, and I went, "Hey, is this?" I don't know what I said. What I was going to say is this the auditions for the vagina monologues is what I was going to say. But I stopped myself. I actually edited myself and I just said, is this where I audition? Is this where I leave my demo tape? I think that's what I said.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Anyway, now I'll let you wrap her up. Thank you for the laughs again this week.
Well, thanks, guys. I don't know where we got to. Today's podcast is called Summer Lovin'. Is it Doug or is it Jeff? And don't use your dad. No, or maybe it's called Don't Use Your Dad's Razor. I don't know.
I think we should just call it Doug versus Jeff. Or we should call it Pash Rash. Pash Rash might be good.
Pash Rash 2024. And one final thing before we go. This is like a bonus edition. So someone tells me, I don't know who I was having this conversation with, that Gen Zs want to live like it's the 90s. They don't want phones. They want to live like we lived in the 90s.
Yes,
and I'm
like,
we had phones in the 90s.
Yeah, but we didn't have internet phones. Like we didn't have smartphones. So they're bringing back flip phones. So I've seen this. I've seen Gen Zs out with flip phones. And I just think to myself, you kids are on the right track. Because if I could go back to the 90s, I would. My most complicated problem was like a Tamagotchi. I mean,
yeah.
Well, maybe my record's going to be a smash hit with the Gen Zs.
It absolutely will be.
I'd just like to say, if you weren't watching on YouTube, Caitlin definitely just wagged her finger.
I'm a hand talker. The fact that you don't see my hands more often during our
or-
YouTube sessions.
No, earlier you were saying, I don't like a finger wag, so I just thought it was funny. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I like a literal finger wag. I don't like a proverbial finger wag. There,
Okay, got
I
it.
said
We're
it.
gonna end there. This is the right thing to do. Okay,
Okay.
thank you for listening. You can subscribe. Jann Arden Pod is our handle on all the social platforms, and you can listen to us anywhere you want because we're everywhere. We thank you. You are awesome. We'll see you next time on the Jann Arden Podcast. Toodly doo.